Round 7 of the NRL gave us a flying Zach Lomax, points galore on the Gold Coast, and punch-ons in the tunnel. Welcome to LTW. The round opened with a 2018 Grand Final rematch between the Sydney Roosters and the Melbourne Storm. Neither side had been particularly convincing so far this season, but Melbourne had consistently found a way to get wins, and this game was no different. The Roosters had good field position early, but blew the try-scoring opportunities that they had. And they were made to pay when a midfield bomb was tapped back to Jerome Hughes, who sliced through the broken Roosters defence from 30 metres out to cross for Melbourne's opening try. From that point on, there were 4 more tries, each of them mired in their own controversy. Roosters coach Trent Robertson expressed his frustration that Nelson Asafa-Solomona had illegally pushed teammate Eli Katoa into the in-goal for Melbourne's second try, and that Remus Smith had pushed Joey Manu off the ball for Melbourne's third. At the same time though, I reckon JWH illegally stopped Nick Meaney for Jennings' try, and I definitely think that there was a knock-on by Jennings in the build-up to the Joseph Manu try. It was a super high-paced game with good physicality but a real lack of quality. Both of these sides can play a lot better than they did. Then came a Friday of upsets, starting off in Wollongong between the Dragons and the Warriors. The New Zealand side did dominate field position early and snagged themselves a try through Sean Johnson. It looked like it would be business as usual for them, but the Dragons did really well to rally and take their opportunities. 3 tries in 10 minutes, including some great individual ball running from captain Ben Hunt, gave St George the lead, with a 2-point field goal on the verge of halftime from Zach Lomax, putting the seal on what was a really good half for the Red V. And the second half picked up where the first left off, with Zach Lomax continuing his hot streak of form by flying through the air like an F-15 fighter jet to steal the ball and cross for a try of his own. A length of the field try to Tyrell Sloan followed, and it proved to be enough to get a really good win for the Dragons. Ben Hunt registered one of his better performances this year, with a try, 3 try assists, a line break, and 2 line break assists. Really good from the Dragons captain. But despite that result, it was the Dolphins who I believe registered the biggest upset of the round against the Eels up in Darwin. Now the Dolphins did come into this game near the top of the ladder and heaps higher than Parramatta, but they were without Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, Herbie Farnworth, Thomas Flegler, Tom Gilbert, Felice Kofusi, and Connolly Lemuelu. The Dolphins had more injured players than I have subscribers, but you could fix that by smashing the subscribe. The Eels started strong and actually managed to score the first 2 tries, but from that point onwards they looked really complacent and just didn't have the same energy that the Dolphins did. The Finns scored a mind-blowing 8 second half tries, orchestrated by young superstar Isaiah Katoa. The 20-year-old finished with 3 try assists and 4 line break assists, playing well beyond his years. Another standout 20-year-old was winger Jack Bostock, who finished with 3 tries, a try assist, and 4 line breaks. And yet, despite all that, my man of the match was actually 22-year-old Max Plath, who scored a double. For a side with so many great veterans, it was the young guns who stole the show, and what was a brilliant sign for a side who are still only in the second year of NRL. On the opposite side of the scoreboard, Brad Arthur was very honest about his squad, saying that only a handful of players are turning up wanting to be professional footy players. Brutal. Then kicking off our Saturday was a trip way out to Bathurst for the Penrith Panthers to take on the West Tigers. This fixture last year was a famous win for the Tigers, and early signs seemed to show history repeating itself, with the Tigers getting the first try of the game to Junior Tupou via a short side raid. The Tigers would have had their second too, if not for Panthers halfback Brad Schneider illegally tackling Justin Olam without the ball during a Tigers lane break. Schneider wasn't binned, and that proved a real momentum shift. The Panthers got 2 relatively simple tries to winger Sunia Taruva, and despite a number of errors for Penrith opening the second half, the Tigers never particularly looked like they were going to score again. This was a game where one side executed their opportunities and the other didn't, resulting in yet another Penrith victory. Then came one of the more intriguing clashes this week up on the Gold Coast between the Titans and the Sea Eagles. The Titans came into this game without a win so far this season, but showed real resolve to get back into the contest late against Canberra last week, and coach Des Hasler had an opportunity to plot his revenge against his former team.
I have come home, master. This is no longer your home, and I am no longer your master.
Oh, yes, you have a new favorite. So where is this?
Anthony Seibold. But it was Manly who got off to a strong start early, leading by 10 points after 10 minutes. But as was the theme this round, it proved a bit of a false dawn, with Titans winger Alofiano Khan Pereira crossing for 2 tries of his own in the 10 minutes that followed. The The sides exchanged tries throughout the rest of the first half, showing defence that neither coach would have been happy with. But a 2-1 second half in favour of the Seagulls proved to be the difference, with Manly escaping with a narrow 34-30 win. The next game was a clash up at Suncorp between the Broncos and the Raiders. The build-up of this game was defined by the Canberra Raiders going public with their game plan during the week, saying that they would terrorise Broncos fullback Reece Walsh all game long with their bombs.
A few moments later.
Raiders fullback Chevy Stewart was terrorised all game long with bombs. It was a tough night for the rookie, but that's the nature of the NRL, and to his credit, he kept going. The Raiders had good field position early, but didn't manage to register any points, and as soon as the Broncos got a sniff, they clicked into gear. A 5-try first half from the Broncos was an ominous statement to the rest of the competition, particularly against a defensively oriented coach like Ricky Stewart. Despite a strong start to the year for the Raiders, the golfing class between the two teams really showed by the end of the game. Raiders halfback Jamal Fogarty suffered a ruptured bicep which will require surgery and see him miss 12 weeks. A huge test of depth for the Raiders, with Kyo Weeks the only other noted half in their side. Then on Sunday we had the rematch of one of the most memorable games of last year. In round 18 2023, the Newcastle Knights beat the Canterbury Bulldogs 66-0 at this venue, but from start to finish the Bulldogs seemed intent on getting their revenge this time out. The Bulldogs had great field position early, held by a fantastic 40-20 from Matt Burton, whose kicking game was much improved, I think. Centre Bronson Xerri scored his first NRL try since his return from a 4-year suspension, and rookie Bailey Hayward also got his first try in the NRL. It was 6 tries from 6 different try scorers for the Bulldogs, who look like a side that are really headed in the right direction this year. On the flip side, the Knights really struggled to get into the game, helped in part by an injury to captain Kalen Ponga. The fullback had only 3 runs in the first half, came out of halftime limping, and was in a moon boot by the 52nd minute. According to the NRL physio, the injury was unrelated to the hip flexor injury that he suffered against the Roosters last week. But again, the Knights left their star player playing out they were injured. That's just not something that the top clubs do, and in my unqualified medical opinion, it shows a bit of a lack of long-term thinking. If you're a side who think you're going to make the finals, is letting him play out there injured against the Bulldogs really in your best interests? Anyway, time will tell, and I really hope the Knights know what's best for him. Then closing the round, we had a game between 1st and 4th in the league, with the Cronulla Sharks taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. The tips did generally go the way of the Sharks, but these two sides were similarly matched on paper, and the game should have been pretty close. It wasn't. Cronulla dominated from start to finish. A bizarre attempted offload from Scott Drinkwater on his own goal line fell to the ground and was happily picked up by Will Kennedy, who strolled over for the first try for the Sharks, and that really set the tone for the rest of the afternoon. To their credit, the Cowboys did hold out the Sharks until the 20th minute, but at that point the floodgates opened. 3 tries in 10 minutes gave them a 24-0 lead at halftime, including a try to debutant local junior Sam Stonestreet, which sent Shark Park into eruption. The Cowboys actually had the best attack in the league coming into this game, but only managed 1 try in an afternoon where there were very, very few positives to take for North Queensland. 2024 seems to be a particularly even season, and North Queensland won't get to where they want to be if they play anywhere close to that. But for Cronulla, they're up to the top of the ladder and look the goods again in 2024. And that was the league this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.